Hey guys, welcome back. Sports with Mono and Mono. It's 9/5/2019. I'm here with Steve, and this is, like I told you on Monday, it's sports, it's NFL, and that's it. What do you got, Steve?
Hi, welcome back to the show, everybody. We are, what are we, literally about 5, 6 hours away from kickoff.
Of the opening season.
That's right,
Yep.
a classic, the Bears and the Pack. So Thursday night, and it kicks off the 2019 season.
Who do you like tonight?
I actually like the Bears, I think.
I'm gonna take the Packers tonight. Actually, I don't. I'm not sold on Trubisky yet.
I like the fact that we disagree because some of the feedback on the show is that perhaps we agree too much.
Well, a lot of people think the Bears are going to the Super Bowl, and I don't see that at all, but we'll cover that later.
Absolutely.
So, what do you got? What's some of the topics you want to touch base?
Well, Jim, I don't like to brag or anything, but, being I'm a Cowboy fan, we had talked for the last couple months.
And I called that they would sign Zeke by Thursday. They signed him by Wednesday. Good call. Good
Thank
call.
you. It was never in doubt.
I don't think it was ever in doubt. I
No.
just didn't know when. But
Yeah. Obviously a lot of our people know Zeke signed. I don't think it's a surprise. Is he now the highest paid running back? Debatable because of the way they structured this contract. It's quote
Yep.
unquote an extension. So I think over 2 months, I think the Cowboys did a good job in knowing that Elliott had to be signed and the way that they structured the contract because he is signed for 2 more years under the original deal. So they're going to he'll be paid his salary based on his original contract. However, what we've always talked about, it's his upfront money. So he's
and what did he get? 50 mil?
45.
45.
Right.
Hmm.
So my main concern, and I actually shared this with a couple audience members already, is I have no faith in this guy's character off the field. And now the fact, I think it's just such a big risk giving him this kind of money, and now he's under contract literally for 8 years.
I agree.
Now, is this guy a stud on the field? Yes.
Yes.
Has he led the NFL in rushing the last 2 years?
Yes.
Will he lead the NFL in rushing? Most likely.
Maybe.
I would say definitely, as long as the offensive line is healthy. So the Cowboys also re-signed La'el Collins, who, listen, they got a steal on this guy 3 years ago. This guy got a bum rap in the draft. He was going to be actually a first-round pick. I'm serious. He came out of LSU, and he had some disparaging things said about him, which proved to be untrue. And to start at the right tackle position for the Dallas Cowboys and get an extension.
What does that mean? Zach Martin is going to hold out, next year for
Zach Martin already has.
La'el Collins money?
No, Zach Martin already signed. They already paid him. Travis Frederick's back. He missed all last year with some autoimmune disease. I like the Cowboys' offensive line. If Tyron Smith stays healthy,
I like their offensive line too. Listen, they a lot of people screamed when the Cowboys drafted Frederick with their #1 pick a few years ago. I like the guy.
yeah,
I like him
He's
too.
been justified. We talked about Joe Thomas a couple weeks ago about Wisconsin.
Yep.
So Travis Frederick is a Wisconsin lineman. We talked about it, nothing but beef. And he's been a real solid NFL center, so hopefully he got over his disease. I think we talked about it too. Mark Schlereth, of Redskin Bronco fame, 2-time Super Bowl champ, I think is the only guy that kind of battled this particular disease. But he came back strong, so I'm
Yep.
expecting Frederick to come back strong.
No, you got a solid offensive line, so
But the Cowboys aren't done. I mean, they still got to sign Prescott. Now I don't know the sense of urgency, being that the season's just about to start. So they'll get to Prescott, and then Amari Cooper's up next on the list to re-sign. If the Cowboys want to be relevant and make a run for the Super Bowl in the next 3-4 years, these are key pieces to the puzzle.
Okay, but Amari Cooper's not making 50 cents this year. He's making a lot of money this year. So, that can wait. Prescott's the priority for
Absolutely.
these guys. You know.
But we talked about it too. Michael Thomas set the bar at 100 million. I guarantee you Julio Jones is going to break the bank. Is Cooper going to get Julio Jones money? No. But I think he'll fall within Michael Thomas.
But is
Julio.
Prescott going to get Russell Wilson money? Probably.
Well, we already talked
And
about it.
let's move on to the.
He's going to
these
get
quarterbacks.
$1 more than Carson Wentz is what he's going to get. And unfortunately,
And we'll
in
get to
today's
him in a
market,
minute.
34 million Dak's going to get.
It's outrageous. All right. Anyway, but before we get into our picks, let's talk about the signings. And I told you, Jared Goff, they paid him. So now Dak Prescott's going to get more than him, I guess. That's what he's going to hold out for.
He can hold out all he wants. He's not getting Jared Goff money.
But I told you, Jared Goff was the most improved player from year 1 to year 2 that I've ever seen in the NFL. And I think this guy deserved the money. And a lot of people put it on him that it's Sean McVay's system. And I told you, we said this on the show before. Sean McVay doesn't throw the passes, and he's nailed it. I like this guy. I love him.
Yeah. I think Sean McVay has all the confidence in the world in Jared Goff. To your point, yeah. I mean, has he improved? Did he take him to the Super Bowl? He most certainly did.
Unbelievable.
Sky's the limit with this kid. He's still young. I mean,
Yep.
what is he, 24?
Yep.
Maybe 25 max?
He's 24, 25.
Well deserving that they get this out of the way. He's highest paid. They don't have to worry about it. They got Gurley under contract. Those are their two key offensive superstars, if you will. And what can I say other than I think it's a well-deserved extension. The Rams know what they're doing. They got good leadership there with their general manager, Norm Sned. And they got great ownership. McVay is not going anywhere.
Nope.
And I think the sky's the limit for the Rams. So congratulations, Jared Goff. Well deserved.
And who else was the big signing, besides Emmitt Smith and Jared Goff? Anybody else,
Who's Emmett? Well, you're referring to Emmitt Smith being, this, to kind of mirror Emmitt Smith with the Ezekiel holdout. I mean, talking about Emmitt Smith, he held out to week 4 when they really, the Cowboys got off to a bad start that year.
They kind of had a good finish, though, didn't they?
They wound up winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
But I think those are the two most notable signings right now, extension-wise. The other news, I think, before we get to our picks, is I'll give Mike Mayock credit on the Raiders. So the news just broke. If anybody's been watching this Hard Knocks on HBO,
Which I haven't, because I just refuse to.
okay, but I have. And let me tell you something, and we talk about character on this show, and I think we made a statement a couple weeks ago. If we owned an NFL team, we would go with the New England model. We want character guys. We want guys that know their positions. We want guys that are team guys, right?
Yep.
Are there exceptions to the rule based on talent? Of course. And then you just cut them. But this Antonio Brown, I got to tell you something. I am so sick of him already. And I've already mentioned it. Caveat emptor, buyer beware to the Oakland Raiders.
Yep.
So you're watching a guy who got paid, and I said it, true colors. I said it a couple shows ago. I am getting more and more sick to death of this guy. So I want to just give a pat on the back to Mayock. So Mike Mayock is the general manager now of the Raiders.
Which is hard for you and I to give this guy credit, because I don't know what he's done in his career to warrant it. He was pretty good, covering Notre Dame games and so forth, but that warranted getting the GM job in Oakland. But I got it. I agree with you 100%.
Well, I know a little bit.
Stand tall with this guy.
I know a little bit about Mayock. A lot of people know I went to Boston University. So up the road was BC during the Flutie Mania years, Doug Flutie. Mayock, if I remember correctly, was a safety on Boston College. He's probably a year older than Flutie. So I had the opportunity to kind of
Watch him.
Yeah, watch him. Know he was part of BC. Did he make it in the NFL? No. So he becomes this NFL analyst and draft guru guy. He's kind of smug, I'll give you that, right? So apparently him and Gruden hit it off. And now after a couple decades of being this guru, Now he's in the hot seat. And I'll give him credit for taking the job.
Okay.
Okay, so him and Gruden, if you're watching this Hard Knocks, which again you haven't, but they seem to be in step. Like, Mayock, I'm watching, sits in all the meetings and so on and so forth. But I'll give him credit for saying enough is enough. This circus is ending. And now what? So they're threatening to suspend him. Are they going to suspend him? I would think that would be highly unlikely.
No.
But they're going to fine his ass. And what does that mean? Nothing. It means, oh, well, we're going to fine you $54,000 for this.
We just gave you $30 million.
Exactly. $14,000 for this. But the point is, if this circus continues, he put the gauntlet down. Does he have the balls to do it? I think absolutely not. He will be suspended. But that seems, as we're taping right now, that seems to be the scuttlebutt.
All right, so listen.
But I'll give him credit for at least addressing it and saying enough is enough with this circus.
All right, a lot of stuff going on. Season kicks off tonight, and then Sunday's a big day.
Yep.
So let's go division by division,
Sure.
right? Let's start in the AFC East.
Da-da.
And I'm going to tell you, I know this is going to shock a lot of people. I mean, I think New England wins the division, but I think the sleeper in this team, in that division, is Buffalo. And I've told you this before, I think Josh Allen is going to be a player, and I got a lot of Buffalo Bills fans that say that was a bust. And I said, hey, Jared Goff was a bust in his first year, Bradshaw was a bust in his first year, give this guy credit, and I like what Sean McDermott's doing. And what do you think about that?
Oh, I think New England wins the division.
Agreed.
They'll probably slip a little and only win it by 12-4 this year, as opposed to 13-3.
And they may start off 2-4 and end up, 11-5.
Right.
We've seen this movie
Do I
before.
discount what Sean McDermott's doing in Buffalo? I don't. I mean, he's got to make over this roster, turn it into his team. They drafted Josh Allen, as you said, rookie quarterback last year.
Ed Oliver replaces Kyle Williams.
I get it. Am I going to go out on a limb and say I see significant progress from Buffalo this year? I'm going to disagree. So this is the easiest pick of them all, the AFC East. The Pats win it, whether they're 10-5 or 11-5, 10-6, that wins the division.
Okay, but
Period.
everyone's picking the Jets because Le'Veon Bell's there and Darnold's the next Johnny Unitas. I don't see that happening.
I see the Jets actually having 8-8. I'll go. Yeah, does that get them in the playoffs? No, but it's significantly better. And also, I actually, it's funny, we talked about when McCagnon got fired, and I thought maybe he got a little bum rush there.
I agree.
I just saw something where, his drafting, there's only two guys on the roster that he drafted. Jamal Adams and Marcus Mack. Everybody else has been cut. Now, McCagnon's last draft, again, we talked about the Jets, that they let McCagnon do the draft. He took a third-round pick on this Florida linebacker he's kind of a head case, but apparently very ultra-talented. Dog. I'm trying to pronounce his name, like Jalik Polite or something along
Yes, I know.
Linebacker from Florida.
Yep.
But I tell you, the new GM, Joe Douglas, out, cut, bye-bye.
Okay.
But this kid got an audition. He played 4 preseason games. You giving me 5 tackles and no pass rush, you're out the door. So I thought that was kind of interesting that I took a step back and said, maybe McCagnon's drafting really hasn't been that good. Did he hit a home run with Darnold? Yes. Okay, but I think anybody in that position, you got to get that franchise quarterback. I'll give him credit for that. But I'm talking about the second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round guys where you really got to fill the cupboard.
Yeah, well, that's tough to even, you can't hang anybody on fourth and fifth round picks. You get a sleeper every now and then, but I don't know.
So
I'm just not sold on the Jets. And I've gone on record as saying I don't think Sam Darnold is the next Johnny Unitas. And I just can't give you, I just I don't know what to expect out of
I'm
this
going.
Le'Veon Bell.
I think Sam Darnold is going to be a very good.
I know
NFL
you've
quarterback.
mentioned that. You've
And one of
mentioned
the
it.
things I also noticed on Sam Darnold was he came in as he had like chipmunk cheeks, right? USC quarterback.
He's only 22 years old.
Yeah, but the
I mean,
point is body type when he got drafted, and even at USC, he was kind of a thick quarterback.
Right, not chiseled, but thick.
Yeah, well, you know what? I did a double take on him a couple games this preseason. He's really slimmed down. He's in shape, which that translates as a quarterback in footwork and mobility in the pocket.
Right, because
I
he's
think
not
a
going to
smart
keg
kid.
parties at
Yeah,
USC now.
I get that,
you know.
but I think that translates to this kid is all in.
Okay.
And I'm looking big things for him.
All right.
So on the AFC East, these are my prediction. Patriots standard until proven otherwise.
Yep.
I'll go with the Jets second, and I'll go with the Bills third. And the Miami Dolphins obviously seem to be tanking. They made some trades. They're looking to position themselves to get up in the draft next year.
I guess.
And take Herbert or Tua or, you know,
I
they
guess.
need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback.
They're going into the season with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Josh Rosen, of course, is there. I foresee Rosen probably getting the start maybe by week 3.
And I'm gonna go this route. Before I agree with you that New England's gonna win the division. I think Buffalo edges the Jets, and Miami, starting Fitzpatrick, who's not a bad quarterback. I've liked him,
Journeyman guy.
but give Josh Rosen a chance. Like I said, we've talked about it. Bradshaw, Goff, give him a chance. I would have picked him for the Giants 2 years ago, actually. So
I think they're paying Fitzpatrick. They got Rosen for the long term here.
I know, but we've seen this Fitzpatrick movie before. He'll throw for 500 yards the first
Week
3
1,
weeks.
right?
You know,
And then from a fantasy perspective, somebody will pick him up, and then he'll have 5 interceptions the following week.
you got it. All right,
And
let's
the beard will only grow bigger as the
course.
season goes
All right.
on.
let's move on. Let's move
move
on.
on.
But first, before we move on, our NFL preview is sponsored by Coriano Trucking Incorporated, Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut, and D. Filippi's Bakery of Monticello, New York. And we thank them ingraciously.
We most certainly do.
All right, so let's move on to the next division. Let's go AFC West here. Any controversy? Kansas City, right? I mean,
Chargers or Kansas City?
all right. Finish your thought, and then I'll get to the Chargers
Well, the
because
Chargers had a great year last year. Obviously, Kansas City had a great year last year. Kansas City's had some upheaval, especially with the suspension and having to get rid of, the kid beater, so to speak, who's now in Cleveland.
Okay.
But this Patrick Mahomes had the year last year that everybody just did a double take, and I don't foresee him not having the same type of production. Is he going to score 50 touchdowns or throw 50?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But I got to tell you, in this division, Denver you can scratch off, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Oakland, not going to happen. I've told you I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, and this whole Brown thing, I don't think they have enough to go there.
I'm more of a Derek Carr fan than you are.
You are. I
I
give
am.
you that. But the Chargers, I think you're more of a Phillip Rivers fan than I am. This guy has not won anything, and they can go as far as they want. They'll win a playoff game maybe. Now they don't have, this super stud Melvin Gordon. You cut it out.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that was a source of our fun for the last several weeks.
Right.
So I think we talked about the Chargers really saying, "Oh, really, Melvin? Okay, go seek a trade. Bye-bye."
Right. So I don't think this division's in question. I think it's Kansas City and the Chargers. But like I said, the Chargers won't go far. But the only thing with Kansas City
Is the Andy Reid has never won a goddamn thing.
is the Andy Reid thing. Exactly. And I love Andy Reid. But
What's not to like? He's Marty Schottenheimer on steroids. That's the best thing I could tell you. Uncanny until this guy can prove he can win and get to the Super Bowl. And,
But you
and
can
pull
go to
it
the
off.
but you can go to the prom and then find out you can't dance with the queen of the prom, and that's the way I see it.
So
I think that division's pretty easy to pick.
how about
Kansas City's
so
going
at the
there.
bottom line, you're taking the Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely.
I'll take the L.A. Chargers.
Okay. So we'll stay with the AFC. Let's
Sure.
move on to the North.
Okay.
I don't know. This for me, I think Pittsburgh. This is a bounce back year.
A lot of people seem to feel that way.
Well, I don't. You know, I don't ride the same train as everybody else, but I don't see a lot there. Cincinnati can cross off. Baltimore, I just don't see it. I
Not
mean,
with Lamar Jackson running the ship.
I actually think he's an unbelievable athlete. I just don't think they have enough around him to go that far.
He's a running quarterback, period.
But
He's
we've
not
known-
a thrower.
Right, but that's the quarterback position has changed over time, and
Okay.
it works.
So if I'm a defensive coordinator and I know this guy can't pass, I'm probably going to defend him
Okay.
against the run and keep him in the pocket, not let him get outside. Is he going to get his yards because of his phenomenal athletic ability? Of course he is.
Yep.
But I just don't. They took hits. You know, Suggs is left. You know, there's a lot of upheaval. C.J. Mosley left. So I'm going to say Baltimore's.
You know, when a lot
will
of
be a
people are
non-factor.
picking Lamar Jackson to be the MVP of the league, well, that's not going to happen.
No, no, it's not.
All right, but before we move on from this division,
No, but let's get back to the Steelers. I think a lot of people think they're going to have a bounce back year, like you said. And I think the reason is they got rid of the cancer. They transferred the cancer from Pittsburgh to Oakland, okay?
and to New York.
Right? And they got rid of Bell, who's another cancer, who's in New York. And this kid, James Conner, is now going to be the featured back.
I like him.
God, the kid had a great year last year. Solid pro, character guy, good
Yep.
guy.
I like
Right? This Juju Schuster Smith is going to be the new Antonio Brown. We got to see, but potentially this guy's got all the talent in the world. So I never discount the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, I think we've talked about on previous shows that Cleveland, this is the time that if they don't win this division, something is seriously wrong.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because that's the popular pick that they're going to the Super Bowl,
They're
blah,
not.
blah, blah. But I'm not sold on Baker Mayfield yet. I like him a
I
lot.
am.
I like him a lot, and I think he's going to prosper. But in this first season, when Beckham goes down with his hip injury in week 2 and misses 8 games and so forth, you know, they got some fallback. They got a good defense.
They got a good running game, Nick Chubb, and
But this is a rookie
and
coach,
Hunt.
Freddie Kitchens, and I'm saying maybe next year. But everyone's putting their chips in this Cleveland barrel right now, and I'm saying you may be a little early for this.
All I'm saying is they should win the division. I'm
Right.
not saying they're going 14-2, 13-3, 12-4. Not
'Cause they're
saying
not.
that because I think the division they may win the division at 9-7. So my pick is Cleveland for the AFC
All right, it's
North.
a popular pick.
Okay.
It's a popular pick. Let's move on.
Yep. What else we got?
AFC South. This may be the worst division in the NFL. I don't see Houston, Indianapolis with the whole luck thing going down, and I'm not discounting Jacoby Brissett as his,
Heir
you know,
apparent.
as a talented guy. I like him,
Right.
and he's very articulate, and he's seems to have everything in place. But Jacksonville,
Jacksonville is actually that's my pick. I think Jacksonville
I
should
agree.
clearly win this division.
Right, because Blake Bortles is no longer there, and Foles is a Super Bowl winning
They got
quarterback.
Leonard Fournette. I think Tom.
I'm not sold on him.
Yeah, but the fact is, he's a top running back talent.
I don't see it actually.
I think the difference here is Tom Coughlin now. This is probably the third year, right?
Third, fourth.
Well,
yeah.
no, it's third, where he's cleaned out the character, right? All the dogs he's gotten rid of. Okay, there's a dog still there, Jalen Ramsey, who's a talented cornerback. However, I feel he's a dog, but I think Jacksonville has the pieces to just, like you said, I think it's probably the weakest division in the AFC.
Right, but
my
you-
pick is Jacksonville.
Okay, and I'm going to go along with you because I agree with it, but not because of Foles, but because I don't think Houston or Tennessee or Indianapolis has enough to challenge him. And Foles has a good track record, but
He
he's
does.
already, he's already dealing with some abdominal strain or something. So
But
we'll see how that
I
goes.
think Jacksonville's got solid players. They just re-signed Miles Jacks, who's a real solid linebacker. So defensively, I think Jacksonville's strong. And with Foles now as a competent quarterback, and the fact that they got good receivers. As D.D. Westbrook is ready to break out. I'm just saying, Jacksonville, don't be surprised if they go. I could see them going 10-6 or so, 11-5.
Right, but Foles doesn't play 16 games a year, so that's the problem.
Okay.
I don't know even know who the backup.
To be determined.
Right.
So now that we've picked our division winners
In the AFC,
in the AFC, we're
Let's
staying
move to the-
AFC.
well,
Who do we like to advance to the championship, AFC championship, and ultimately the Super Bowl?
and I know it's not a reach, but I think New England, they're still going to the Super Bowl. They're still going to the Super Bowl. I don't see any other team. Kansas City, they're going to meet in the championship game again.
Good.
And that's the only reason that New England may not make the Super Bowl. It may be Patrick Mahomes' year. That's my picks.
Yeah, I'd be stupid not to take the Pats until proven otherwise.
Me too.
And like last year, the Pats went on the road, Kansas City. Chiefs had a great year. Mahomes has 50 touchdown passes, an unstoppable force, etc., etc. They had Hunt and Hill and all the pieces in place.
They did.
D. Ford goes offsides. The defensive lineman is now on San Francisco. He doesn't go offside. Kansas City was in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
However, it's New England until New England is chopped at the knees and brought down. I'm going with the Pats, and I don't care if they're on the road. I don't care as long as Brady's
I agree.
back there. They're the pick in the AFC. Until
I agree.
proven otherwise.
I agree.
think
But the only one that could challenge him is Kansas City. It's the only team that can challenge him. And a couple of calls went against Kansas City. Otherwise, they would have been in the Super Bowl. But I agree with you.
I'm going Chargers meeting the Pats.
Okay.
You pick Kansas City to win the division. I'm picking the Chargers.
Okay.
We shall see come late December, early January.
Well, I'm telling you, the Chargers don't get out of their own way, at least past the first round.
We shall see.
Phillip Rivers has proven zero to me.
I don't think Phillip Rivers has always been the problem. I think it's the supporting cast around Phillip. Phillip Rivers is going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because he throws 5,000 yards a week, but
Right.
when
He's
it
a
comes down to
compiler.
it,
Phillip Rivers is a compiler. He's Burt Blyleven, Don Sutton, if a baseball analogy.
right, but when it comes down to 2 minutes left, he throws the Oski, he pulls a Testaverde every single time.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. So
NFC.
that's our AFC. We're going with the Pats. Correct? We agree?
I think we agree.
Okay.
And let's move on to the NFC East. Okay, your Cowboys, they look pretty good. It's kind of a weak division. I don't see Washington even in the mix. The Giants, outside of Barkley, I'd love to see Jones step up. I don't know why they're writing Eli off, but I don't see them challenging Dallas. They could beat them in week one, but I don't see them overall in the division. Philadelphia, it's a possibility.
Well, a lot of people are picking the Eagles. However, I think the wild card with the Eagles is the injury history of Carson Wentz. And
Yeah.
I'm actually one of the guys that's going to say, show me that you can play 16 games. I just had a conversation with a guy at work. I said by October he should separated shoulder, knee, ankle. It doesn't matter. There's a history of injury there. I know they anointed him, paid him, and he's the franchise quarterback. If he's healthy, he's solid. Don't get me wrong.
And I think with him and Doug Peterson,
Yeah.
I think they could
He's a
be
great
formidable.
coach. I mean, Doug Peterson's Super Bowl winning coach 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Right? But my pick is the Cowboys. And now everybody knows I am a Cowboy fan.
We're going along. This is a
and
neutral
I am
thing.
not. Exactly. I like to think I'm objective, and I think the Cowboys, with as long as the offensive line stays healthy, I'm a Dak guy. A lot of people aren't, but I'm a Dak guy,
I agree.
and I love the linebacking core for the Cowboys. Now, what's the wild card with the Cowboys? There could be a drug suspension, every 48 hours.
A DWI.
DWI, something happens at the White House for our fans.
I agree with you there.
Back in the day, the White House was when Irvin and all these clowns, got together and a lot of shenanigans went on. So the point is with Dallas, that's my only concern, is that back to the character of what Sports with Mono and Mono is about. They don't have a lot of character guys. They have some character guys, the Sean Lees of the world, the Leighton Vander Esch's, the Dak Prescotts. But I think the inmates outweigh the good guys. But talent-wise, defensively, DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win the NFC East.
I agree with you. We could move on. I think we're in sync there. NFC West. I don't think there's any question. I think Seattle and the Rams are going to fight it right down to the end. And I've told you this before. I think this Goff and McVay, that's the only thing that can get in Seattle's way. But I love Russell Wilson.
I do too.
I think he actually one of the few guys that deserve the money for what he's done since he's gotten there.
I agree.
And they gave Goff the money in L.A. Do they have enough? They lost Sue, whatever. But that's who it's coming down to. It's not San Francisco, Garoppolo. I don't get the whole thing. He's making
San Francisco's still rebuilding. They're still rebuilding.
Okay, but they gave this guy Garoppolo,
A lot of money.
Matt Castle money, and Matt Castle lasted 30 minutes in this league.
To his defense, he blew his knee out last year. I got to see a full season of Garoppolo. I understand why they went after him, but to your point.
He didn't have a proven track record, though. I don't get it.
But back to the Seahawks and Rams. Listen, the Seahawks just made the Jadeveon Clowney trade to shore up the defense. Are they good? Russell Wilson, I never discount. However, the Rams just went to the Super Bowl. The Rams almost won the Super Bowl. The Rams have a ton of talent. Aaron Donald on defense, and on and on.
And Donovan Sue could be the missing piece, though. That could hold them back.
I'm sure the Rams have replaced Sue. My pick is the Rams, and actually, I think the Rams are lights out.
All right, well, I'm going to take Seattle in that division, not discounting the Kyler Murray in Arizona, because he's going to be a player, but this isn't the year, and they're not going to contend.
Not at all. Not at all.
So let's move on to the NFC North. You know what? This may be aside from Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago. I know a lot of fans are picking Chicago. I'm still not sold on Mitchell Trubisky. I like him. I think he's talented. And I love Khalil Mack.
Right.
But I think Minnesota, I'm waiting for Kirk Cousins to step up and show that he's worth the kind of money they've been paying. And I'm just not sure on this one. I don't think Green Bay has enough firepower. We know Detroit's not going to be in the mix. So it's Chicago, Minnesota, unless you disagree, Steve.
No, I think for that division, those are the two logical choices. I have basically zero confidence in Kirk Cousins. I believe the Chicago Bears win that division. I think, to your point, am I sold on Mitchell Trubisky? No, but I was happy with what I saw last year.
Me too. He's developing. I'll give you that.
Khalil Mack. I mean, the Bears, one lone suspect aspect of their game, obviously, is the kicking game, right? So it really is, and that could come back and haunt them again.
Why is that such a mess in Chicago?
Yeah, they can't find the kicker.
Then sign Carly Lloyd, for crying out loud. I mean, what are we talking about here?
That's a good point. If there's going to be an NFL kicker, a woman NFL kicker, Chicago, the Bears are looking for a kicker.
Oh, come on. This is getting out of control.
But I think the Bears, I like the Bears to win that division.
And I think talent-wise on paper, with Khalil Mack, they're a better team. I just don't know if they have all of those pieces that they can overcome Minnesota.
Yeah, but the Vikings have talent from Kyle Rudolph, Cousins, Dalvin Cook offensively.
Yep.
Mike Zimmer. I'm a big Mike Zimmer guy. Mike
am
Zimmer
too.
used to be the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, so I know Mike Zimmer. He's a passionate coach. He's probably going into his 6th year now or something.
Yeah.
Something always happens to the Vikings injury wise. I just think the Bears are going to win the division.
I'm not sure you're wrong. I'm going to say I wouldn't.
So you're taking the Vikings, and I'll take the Bears.
Yeah, it can come down to week 15 or 14.
Sure. But the Bears start off tonight against Green Bay, and I like the Bears tonight.
I like the Packers tonight on the road.
Okay.
But before we move on from this division, there was a piece, and we've always talked about it. Showtime and ESPN do these pieces, 30 for 30, E60. Kyle Rudolph,
Yeah.
10 thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you saw it.
I
'Cause
haven't
if you
seen it.
haven't seen it,
Tell our audience what's it about.
it was this guy. Was such a compassionate guy, and he
Notre Dame guy.
Notre Dame guy, but he's now the mayor of Minnesota. But the way he treated this girl who had cancer, it was heart wrenching. It was Brian Song like, but what a class act he is, and I just
No, I look forward to seeing it.
I wanted to give it 2 thumbs up because he is great.
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 Awesome.
Great. All right, so let's close out with the NFC South. And I hate this division.
Who dat? That's the end of it. That's my pick.
I gotta agree.
Who dat?
I
The
agree.
Saints.
Right off the bat, Jameis Winston, Tampa Bay, they're out.
Don't even get me started on
Carolina, Cam Newton, they're out.
Don't even get me started on Cam Newton.
Atlanta, besides Matt Ryan, they're out.
Well, Julio Jones. Listen.
Julio Jones.
But to backtrack that, the Falcons had a crappy year the last couple of years, right?
But they got the same cast of characters.
Yeah, but they were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago against the Pats and almost won it if Matt Ryan doesn't take that ridiculous sack. But the point is, I can see Falcons having a rebound year. However, the Saints with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara and Breeze, in his swan song, and the way they got screwed last year, they're talented. They are. So, I think this is a very easy pick, is the Saints winning the division. I'm going Saints, but my point is, I just wanted to say don't discount Atlanta having a good year and
Okay.
maybe really being in the mix this year.
Well, we could both concede that Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston's not going anywhere. Carolina with Cam Newton is not going anywhere.
I think Jameis Winston is perhaps the most ridiculous quarterback. And again, getting back to character, if I own an NFL team, it was funny, and the reason I bring this up was when he was being drafted and I was at work, I'm in sales, another sales guy, and we were having this discussion before that draft. So Winston is what, maybe 5 years in the league now? And I said to this guy, he said, I'll take Jameis Winston number 1 overall. And I looked at him, I said, are you kidding me? Really? You're an NFL owner, and you want, with this guy's resume, and I'm not talking on the field resume, I'm talking
Heisman Trophy winner, right?
character.
Right? Heisman Trophy?
This guy is a piece of garbage, number 1.
But look at his record. I think it's
I would
like,
not ever have this guy as my quarterback on my team. So the point is,
They're so far from being a
I
contender.
discount Tampa Bay as long as this guy is employed by me.
All right. So let's wrap up with who's your NFC Super Bowl team?
This is a tough one. I think it's a rematch of the Saints and the Rams. I think they're the 2 best teams in the NFC.
All right, that's a
And
championship
and
game.
it depends on home field advantage. Last year the Saints had it, down in New Orleans. My pick is you know what? I like the Rams again.
I do too.
And at the end of the year, I'm looking for a back-to-back rematch here of the Pats and Rams.
All right. And I'm going to say my Super Bowl team, I like the Rams to make the championship game, and I don't know how it's going to play out with, who wins what, who's a wild card. I like Seattle to make the Super Bowl. I like Russell Wilson.
It's not a stretch.
My
It's not a
my
stretch.
chips are in. I'm not a big Pete Carroll fan, but he's won one,
It's not a
and
stretch.
he's got Russell Wilson, and the Rams are going to get their day. And Breeze is he's 40 years old.
He is, but he's got
And
a lot of weapons still.
I know he does.
I'm going rematch. Pats, Rams. Now, again, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and if you think I'm a homer, I would have taken the Dallas Cowboys, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
They're not going to the Super Bowl.
In fact, they're not even going to make the championship game.
Whatever, but they're not going there.
No, they're not.
I like Seattle and New England in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And it may be the last hurrah for New England, but until somebody knocks them off the pedestal, they are still king of the mountain.
And how long have we said, is this the last hurrah for the New England Patriots? So I'm buying in until they are dethroned and number 12 retires. I'm going with that in the Belichick formula
Me too.
until they're not there anymore.
Me too.
So my pick is the Pats, and I'm going to go with the Rams. The Super Bowl this year is in Miami, Florida, at Hard Rock Stadium. So
Okay.
it'll be an outdoor venue, right, under the sun. Probably, it'll be a 80-degree type of night.
Perfect.
And
That's why they have it there.
I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Rams to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. And listen, I'd have no problem with that because I'm a big Jared Goff fan. But I got to think Russell Wilson's going to win his second Super Bowl. No, excuse me. He's going to be in the Super Bowl against Brady. And I'm not. You know what? We got time to talk about it. Our Super Bowl picks. My Super Bowl pick is Seattle and New England, and we'll talk about it as the season progresses.
Okay,
Does
who's
anything
winning the
in that?
Super Bowl? Russell Wilson and the Seahawks?
No, I'm going to say Tom Brady and New England.
Okay, so your pick is the Pats and mine is the Rams.
Okay.
So we denote that, audience members, and if please, an NFL preview show. Let's hope we get a lot of feedback on this. Let's hear your picks. Send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. Okay, give us your feedback. Tell us what you think.
And all your Tampa Bay fans out there that think Jameis
All your
Winston...
Jameis Winston Booster Club supporters, please chime in.
Send us an email. We'd love to talk about you on the show
Right.
next week.
Tell us why Jameis is really a good human being after all.
Okay. But thank you for joining us. This is a good show, Steve. And yes, please send us an email, and we'd love to hear your feedback on our NFL preview show. And we'll be right back next week on Monday we'll see how this shakes out. But
Week
before we
one.
go out, Green Bay Bears, you like the Bears tonight?
I like the Bears.
I like the Packers
Okay.
tonight.
And so it begins.
Yep. Welcome to the NFL season 2019.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thanks for joining us,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us. We'll talk soon.